just explain a little bit more around the whole noise issue. First of all, I think I'll just step back a little bit before I go on and talk about and answer that directly.
We've had a long wait while we've operated on the town centre, but I'm afraid that's the way we have to do it, but we can't rush these things because these are with us for a good while. So the planning application is F 2004. Can you see any circumstances under which the future of those haulage yards would be prejudiced by this development in terms of do they have to apply for goods vehicle operator licences on a regular basis? And if so, would the creation of new dwellings nearby likely to impact negatively on it? So I just wonder whether you could afford. I appreciate it's not directly your area, but you, I'm sure, know a lot more about this than most of the members of the committee.
Was there before the development. The boundary treatment to the south of the site must provide protection to the historic bridleway in this area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Could I now call upon Jeff Carhill, owner of a business, I assume that's a business to the north?
That's correct, yes.
Evening all.
No, just go.
Just press your red button, that's it.
Right. Basically, I see the mitigating noise reductions have been taken on board, but I don't think they go sufficiently enough. There's too much echo and bouncing of noise on the side of the high buildings. I don't think 3 metres will be high enough, nor 4 metres. I also have some grave concerns about the fact that their privacy will be compromised by our operation. I've provided some photos, but David actually put up some reasonable photos showing just how close we are to the side with our windows and how that we can see through bedroom level and lower level quite easily, as you see there. The end of the houses are going to be where those blue containers are going to be for the gardens of those developments, and the noise are made to the traffic commissioner, who is a separate body. They can place conditions on our operator's licence and effectively shut down our night operation. They do it quite regularly for other operators, and the conditions are quite harsh and quite harmful to business. We also have to do a legal 15-minute safety check on the vehicles, which means turning the lights, the indicators and everything on, and then we have 15 minutes to walk around the vehicle. We now have to, for the sake of London and the safety of cyclists, have at least an 85 decibel speaker fitted to the near side of the vehicle, that when the indicators are on, which they will be to test the vehicles, roadworthiness, will be screaming, warning, warning, vehicle turning left, cyclist beware, vehicle turning left. You will see these harmful noises descending on every town, and they cannot be isolated or overridden. They have to be there for the protection of cyclists, and we've been forced by the whole of London to implement that for the safety of delivery. So that will be 15 minutes any time between 11 o'clock and 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning for the 5 or so vehicles that we have. There are a total of 59 trucks across the 3 businesses. All will have that similar set of cycles. I know there won't be 59 vehicles leaving the yard in the night, but there will be a significant number at peak times, evenings and weekends. I would like that to be considered. The access road, I take on board that 30, is that my 3 minutes?
It's 3 minutes, could you just summarise that?
Yeah, to summarise, the access road for Loddon Road, the photos were taken from the good side, not the blind side where the bend is. And there have been more accidents than one in the last few years, and I would ask that you don't consider a 30-year-old report for the number of accidents that the bakery had with vehicles. 30 years ago the roads were significantly quieter than they are now, and that is one busy road, Loddon Road now.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Could I call Elaine Vashi to speak on behalf of the applicant?
Sorry, I wasn't turning the speaker off.
That's right. Just need to turn.
Chairman, members, thank you for the opportunity to address you tonight. My name is Elaine Vasha and I'm the Strategic Planning Manager for Bloor Homes Southern, the joint applicants with ABF Grain Products Limited for this application. The suitability of this location for residential development has already been established, as you know, through its inclusion as a site allocation within policy SAL02 of the Managing Development Delivery Local Plan, which was adopted just over a year ago. Appendix 12 of that document sets out additional guidance associated with the site. It requires the delivery of affordable housing, the safeguarding of amenities of the occupants of the dwellings, whilst ensuring continued B-class activities can continue within the adjoining Headley Road core employment area, and information demonstrating how the proposal addresses any impacts on the environment and landscape of the area. These have been addressed through the suite of supporting application documents. This application has been prepared in close cooperation with your officers, and this has been a collaboration that has continued throughout the process. We have also met with the local MP, the Town Council and local residents and sought to address their concerns. In addition, a public exhibition was held to shape the scheme which is before you tonight. The application has been subject to comprehensive consideration by your officers, statutory bodies and local stakeholders. Through this process, various amendments and additional information have been provided to respond to comments raised, and these have led to no objections being raised by any statutory consultees, and as a consequence, your officer's recommendation tonight is to grant planning permission. Turning to matters raised in the consultation, we are aware that there are concerns locally about our proposed access and highway safety. The Managing Development Delivery Local Plan document does not specify any particular access requirements for the site. However, I would just point out that Allied Bakeries, when they promoted the site, showed access from London Bridge Road on all of that promotional documentation. So that was the information that was before the inspector at that time. As some of you saw on the site visit last week, Five Point Way is an unadopted road and is not suitable for pedestrians and therefore cannot provide access to the site. You will note from the report before you that a considerable amount of assessment work has been undertaken and your highways officer raises no concern to the proposals. This includes detailed consideration of the relationship between the proposed access and private driveways on the opposite side of London Bridge Road. With respect to the relationship with adjoining B-class uses, this again has been subject to discussions with the Council's Environmental Health Officer, and as has been pointed out to you tonight, appropriate mitigation has been secured. I do have our acoustics consultant here beside me, Steve Gosling, if there are any further questions.
There may well be questions for them later on, I think,
yeah.
so, but that's the conclusion of your time.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
very much. Thank you. And could I now call upon Borough Council Board Member Alison Swaddle to speak?
Unfortunately, my ward colleague, Councillor Shahid Yunus, who had been leading on this issue, is unable to be here tonight, so I've stepped in at short notice. Shahid had met with residents and, as mentioned, held a public meeting with Rob Wilson, the MP, to enable the concerns of local people to be put to the Bloor Homes representative. Shahid and I understand that residents and local business owners have very strong concerns about the development, as previously voiced this evening, and I'd just like to address two key areas of concern. Firstly, on highways. The residents of London Bridge Road are alarmed by the creation of a new access road and they're concerned about the impact on safety. Entrance and exit of a considerable additional amount of vehicles on what is already a busy road is not considered desirable. Residents already find it difficult to leave their driveways, not just because of the amount of traffic on the road and the speed of that traffic, but also because of the blind bend. The traffic assessment mentions that it may not be representative of traffic generation for housing in this area. and that the estimated traffic generation is higher than expected. Well, that reflects the fears of residents, and coupled with a history of accidents on the road and the lack of a safe crossing point, it means local people do not believe a new road is acceptable on safety grounds, and they would strongly prefer that the development be accessed from Viscount Way. The Highways Officer reported that the pattern of traffic will be reversed, with more joining London Bridge Road, which will alter localised impacts, and this is the concern of residents beyond London Bridge Road. Those in Vauxhall Drive are very concerned about even more traffic on a road regularly congested by the school-run vehicles and traffic regularly held up by the bus service. If the committee was minded this evening to approve the application, would they consider the condition of an additional traffic study after 12 months to examine the traffic flows once the development is fully occupied, and then consider the need for any speed calming measures or junction improvements? My second area I wish to address is the noise, and as we've heard, there are 3 haulage businesses to the north of the site employing local people. These operate all hours of the week and the weekend, and they cannot operate without creating considerable noise. The original traffic assessment was done at the end of 2014 when the third business wasn't there. There has been a supplementary, a second noise impact assessment. I have concerns about this assessment because this was a revised modelling with assumptions made about the noise of the new third business delivered, which has opened since the original assessment. The original report was based on data recorded on a Friday that the 2 businesses say was an untypically quiet day. So the businesses retain their concerns that despite the changes, the acoustic fence being increased from 2 metres to 3 metres, the glazing being increased to 10 millimetres, and restrictions on the opening of windows, it is going to be difficult to assess the future levels of noise. Thriving businesses will expand, operations can intensify, and it's also impossible
Alison, you need to sum up your 3 minutes.
Okay, right, that's fine. So I've got strong concerns that the mitigation measures do not go far enough, and I would ask the committee to consider deferring this application for a robust noise impact assessment to be carried out at a peak time of business when the 3 businesses agree that's necessary.
Okay. Thank you very much. Right. If I'm not correct, the key issues here are not about the housing per se, because as I think we've all heard, this is an allocated site for housing. The issues are resultant from that housing and the effect of that housing. So the primary issues as I see them are the issues about highways and safety, and the issues about noise, impact on the new residents if this was to be approved, and the risks associated with the businesses that are already established there. I think those are the main points I suspect the committee will wish to concentrate on. I see Chris, you're indicating first, I'll go straight to you.